Hey everybody, it's Amanda. This is our tip for this Tuesday, and we're going to talk about color. This is a painting that I did very recently, and this green that I've got in the background is a color that I mixed up myself, and I wanted to share just a little hint with you all about color in your paintings. So a lot of times we have a tendency, especially when we're just beginning as artists, to just take the paint straight from the tube and use it just like it is, or maybe put a little bit of white with it. So these are just little samples that I've got that I did just to have a reference for myself. And let's move my camera up a little. And so I just put the pure color from the tube, and then I mixed a little bit of white with it and lightened it up. And so now I have these little samples that I can use when I'm trying to decide, what kind of painting do I want to do, what colors do I want to use, what's going to work best together. And while I do use my color wheel, that helps me a lot, one of the things that I have found that helps my paintings to look more professional and less amateur is to really get some good color mixes kind of beforehand. So let's take a look. This is sap green. This is also sap green in my background here. However, I added color to it, and I used a color underneath it. So let's just take a look here at a sample that I'm going to do for you. So when I started out painting this painting here, see if I can get my camera to work so you can see both. Okay, when I started out this painting here, if you can see at the edge here, you can see a little bit of some yellow that's peeking out. And I used some raw sienna. So raw sienna, you can use that color, you can use yellow ochre, either one of those. They're very similar in hue. And grab a brush here. I'm going to wet it a little bit. I'm using paper here for my example, but this is canvas, of course. But I started out with this on my background. Okay, now whatever I paint on top of that, it's going to have a different look because it's going to be layered. It's going to be peeking out from behind whatever I paint on top of that. Alright, so I told you that this green that I've used here is actually sap green. And I'm going to show you what happens when I mix a little bit of white with my sap green and just put it straight onto the white paper. Okay, it gives us this it's a pretty green color. But what happens when I put it on top of this? Alright, same mixture here. A little bit of that yellow is peeking through, and this is, it's just a different, it gives it more depth, and it's a different green now. It's very subtle what the change is, but it is different. And it gives your painting much more depth when you layer your colors like this. Okay, so now I'm going to actually mix a little bit of this yellow into, or actually it is raw sienna, but it is yellow, into the green, and then add a little white. And this is the actual color that I used. So I didn't just use straight sap green. I mixed a little bit of the raw sienna in there with it. And so there it is without an undertone. And then we'll put some here over this yellow, and just look how pretty that is. A little bit of that yellow can still peek through, and that just makes your whole painting just like, it looks like it's just glowing. So when you're mixing your colors, think about it as if you're layering for depth with your, a lot of times the yellow ochre just by itself is going to work really well for an underpainting for just about anything. And also mix something else with your color. Don't just use a color straight from the tube. Play with ideas. Mix some things together. See what happens. And if you don't already have a color wheel, where's my color wheel? I don't see it right offhand, but here it is. Your color wheel will help you to mix some colors together and get some fun and beautiful ideas for your paintings. So in this one here, not only did I mix that raw sienna into my green, but I also mixed it with my pinks and got these pretty coral pinks. I mixed a little bit of it into these white flowers here. There's some in the leaves and the greenery everywhere. So mixing a little bit of one color into all of your colors as you're painting will help your painting to really harmonize and come together really well. And it will give you a more professional look because you have customized your colors yourself and given it just a very unique look that's only yours. So I hope that this tip was helpful, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with this idea.